Hi, I'm Dennis.
Hi, I'm Wes.
And welcome back to Petrol Station, your one-stop shop for family trauma. Gets them every time.
Damn.
I mean, but this is how we work it out as a group, as a family
honestly,
team.
this is our safe space.
It really is.
And let's be honest, we're two bunch of assholes, and we're the biggest
We're two bunch of assholes. That is like,
I don't speak English very well. Have you?
You just put us in like a bigger basket of assholeness. Yeah. Like we couldn't be confined to just two individuals. We're two individuals who equivalent a bunch.
We're two mini lion assholes, and we make
Form a
one
bigger
big asshole.
lion.
That's why we don't get invited to Thanksgiving anymore.
That's true.
Dude. Literally. Welcome to our hell.
There's got to be a black sheep in every family where it's us.
And it's us.
Yeah.
We host a black sheep Thanksgiving because we're not allowed back. But we make funny content.
All right, so I think I'm leading the discussion again this week.
Yeah, you're in it on a roll here.
I am actually. I'm bringing a good one. I was inspired by a YouTube video where they were just absolutely ragging on a car that I kind of like and I adore. And it got me thinking, like, what are some of the cars that we both like that honestly that we shouldn't? Like, society has told us that these cars are pieces of crap, but in my heart of hearts, I still have a spot for them and a love for them. So I
can think of like 6 off the top of my head.
Oh yeah. So I put together a list. I know that you have a list prepared. I think we just go back and forth and let's talk about our choices and life.
Yeah. Our bad life choices?
No, okay, let's stick to the car list. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
The asshole.
Okay, so the first one on my list, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, because this one is like, it's hated on by everybody who's ever loved cars and doesn't love cars or doesn't care about cars. They still know this car, and they absolutely just love to tank on it. But I find it adorable, and I still think it's a classic.
It better not be the VW Bug from 2005.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That didn't even make my list.
You fucking ladybug.
No, absolutely not. No. The Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Oh, God.
That's right.
Okay, no, I see one. Okay. I see both sides. Because, one, I do like the PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a cool-looking car. Now they are trash. Let's not pretend they're not terrible cars.
They were neons with a different body.
Yeah.
They were not meant to last very long. But they were also you could get a cheap car that looked kind of cool.
Yeah, it does look cool. And one, I've always been a wagon fan. And it's got the wagon style.
Yeah.
And it had wood vinyl on half the models, which was cool, like on the side and stuff, and on the interior.
Well,
I'm not a huge fan of, but it can be done right.
And I love the paint match interior. Like to me, the interior was actually really well done. The car, like overall, it did not age well. And they don't last.
No, you get to about 15,000 miles and you start worrying.
Anything past 80,000 miles, it's time for that car to go. Yeah. But and they're adorable. Like I love the way that they look. I loved the interior. To me, the interior was the best part. But I also love like the vintage 30s, 40s car, which was what that car was inspired on. That, the SSR, the Prowler, the SSR, and the PT Cruiser were all designed by the same guy who really loved that vintage aesthetic. Yeah. Yeah, honorable mention for the SSR. That thing gets ragged on too. Didn't get on my list,
but people rag on that one. I'm like, dude, why? It looks cool. It's different. Like, it looks like an El Camino on fucking drugs.
Now, granted, it was a truck that couldn't truck, but it still looked cool and it had a V8.
Yeah, it was in the era of when we had a Dodge that couldn't truck, but it had a V8 or V10 in it. A Ford Lightning who had a V8. Like, it was in that era when that came out. When those were coming out. So it wasn't supposed to truck.
But it still holds sentimental value for me.
I will say the PT Cruiser definitely, again, same thing, gives me the old nostalgia vibes. And it's one of those cars that you get it out of the gate, you don't have to do anything to it. It looks good by itself. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to mess with it. You don't have to make mods to it.
Right.
It just looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a sucker for wood grain. Peeling, whatever. Yeah. But like if it's done right.
It was fake wood grain.
Yeah, if it was real wood grain, like VW buses.
Yeah, the microbus.
Yeah, the microbus. We're just going to go back and forth like usual. I'm going to stick in the Chrysler era.
Okay.
And everyone hates this car, but I've always loved this car ever since it was in, correct me if I'm wrong, it was in Transformers. It was Jazz, right? He was a Crossfire? Was
No, Jazz was the Pontiac. He was the
in the same star, Solstice. Yeah. That's another honorable mention.
But no, I know which car you're talking about. The Crossfire was
Crossfire.
Cool.
Yep.
Now, granted, it was back when Mercedes Daimler owned Chrysler.
Yeah, and it was a poor person's Mercedes.
Yeah, it was a poor person's SLS. I think it was best. Yeah, it was the SLS or the SL300 that it was based on. I don't know.
Same
Mercedes.
Concept. They all had the long noses. Yeah, but they look good.
It was a good looking car.
And it's a good looking car. Again, it's a Chrysler. We get it. Yeah. But
had the flip up wing.
It looked really. It had the flip up wing. Like nobody else was doing it at that budget. Like in that style at that budget, you couldn't get anything else like that.
And there was an SRT version.
Yeah, except for maybe the Pontiac Solstice. But like I don't know. I liked the Pontiac Solstice, but I think I liked the Crossfire more. I liked the lines of the Crossfire.
Yeah,
the Pontiac. It still looked good on its own right.
Right.
I just didn't like how bubbly it looked.
Definitely. I'm also a fan for the Crossfire, but yeah, like if you find one now, they're always ragged out. They're torn apart because they're not good wearing cars. They weren't top sellers, so they ended up going to lower cost buyers who just I needed a car. I'm not really worried about the longevity or trying to resell it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that's definitely one of the best cars that I can think of that like I could think that I really like that everyone hates on. And everybody dogs on it. Same thing with the Solstice. Everybody hates the Solstice.
Okay, my turn.
Yep.
All right, kicking it to the 80s, early 90s. This is one that all of the owners of the other generations of this particular car, you're probably going to figure this out here in a minute, absolutely dog on.
Because it's the ugliest version. I already know where you're going with
this. I like it. I think that done right.
You love the ugly Duckling.
It looks clean. But also, I love that it came with like the 80s digital dash. Like it was a primo 80s car.
Yeah,
the C4 Corvette. Yes, and you know what's sad is I've sat in two of them. I don't fit at all. Yeah,
like height wise or girth wise.
Yes,
both. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say because like again, I know the feeling of being 6 foot tall and not fitting in a lot of cars.
Right.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying.
Well, even at like 5'11",
and
because my short dancer's legs, I'm
no
all
hips.
torso, no
you didn't get these dancers' legs, like I did.
But yeah, like it to me, like it's not. Is it the best looking car? No.
Yeah.
Is it iconic in its design? Very much so. Like it still had flip up headlights. It had my favorite part of that whole car is the full clamshell hood that raises forward.
Yeah, I did appreciate the hood.
And I love that. Hoods. I love the interior is very quintessential 80s. It's all block style. But yeah, like the dashboard is completely digital depending on what year you got. I think like all of the late 70s, 80s car came with fully digital gauges. Hey there.
Squirrel, your ass. Come back.
Buzz me again.
Yo. Yeah. Can you clean your garage? There's some spider webs up there.
It's a garage.
That man's cleaning up shop, bro. Well, he's got like 6 bugs up there.
He's taking care. He's taking care of
good.
He's taking care of the flying things. Let that man cook. Anywho, yeah.
You sure we don't have ADHD? We may want to get checked.
What were we talking about?
Squirrel, Dave, Craig. Damn it, Craig.
Damn it, Craig. All right, let's go on to the next one.
All right, so I've got a few that I'm thinking of, but again, here's my problem. I'm going off of like nostalgia because I own these cars. I'm trying to think of cars that I've not owned that I still like, but the list goes on. I'm going to start in the 80s as well.
Okay.
It was my first car I ever owned. That was mine.
Okay. I already know which one it is.
Yeah, of course you did because you bought it for me. The 1985 300ZX. And again, I don't necessarily think everyone hates this car. I
was going to say that's not really a one that like everybody hates. If you
put it up against the 350, 370,
obviously,
the 90s 300, the Datsun 280, 260, 240s. Yeah. It is the ugly duckling of the group. And it is what it is because
it was styled for the generation that it was made in.
It's the generation. But dude, I absolutely
again,
still to this
sucker for digital
love these cars. And I am. Again, I grew up in the 90s where everything was digital and everything was cool analog. And I love it. And yeah, it had a digital dash. It looked good. And dude, have you ever seen the digital dashes on those?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the rev limiter is up front and it like actually looks like a bar from like Tron. Dude, I absolutely
the C4 Corvette is the same way. Like it actually flows up.
Yeah,
and it's like
so
red, yellow, or green, yellow, red.
Yeah, but no, the '80s was just a whole
hell of a time.
Nostalgic era of cars. And they had such cool designs. Yeah, and again, I think that entire genre of cars and that generation of cars, everybody dogs on it because again, it was different. Like between the 70s, and I will say too, the 70s also got dog shit on a lot too.
I don't know. I think
when it came to like the Mustang and like the Charger, or not there was a Challenger.
There was a Challenger in the 70s, yeah, early 70s.
They weren't as popular.
They were extremely popular.
I don't know. When I think of Mustangs, I don't think the 70s is popular.
Well, the Mustang 2. Yeah. Which was a 70s car, was not popular. But in 78, yes, we got the Fox body Mustang. So at the time,
let's play it what it is. At the time,
it was not popular. And honestly, like even like so I mean, I grew up child of the 80s, early in the 90s. Yeah, as a kid, that was not a very popular style of Mustang. Yeah. But as an adult, now it's nostalgic and everybody loves it. I really want a Fox body, but so does everybody else. I mean, dude, there's Fox bodies selling for $60,000-$70,000 again, it's for just a stock Fox body GT Mustang.
It's the same situation as the ugly Duckling. You know, like it's unique.
It comes into style eventually. Yeah.
Which again, like I grew up outside of that entire era. So like for me, Fox body Mustangs have always kind of looked cool. Like for me, I've always enjoyed them. But yeah, I understand in that time, in that era, like they were not as popular. But that's how I feel about the 70s. I feel like most of the 70s cars were just not as popular because I think that was the time too. They were still trying to figure things out because the 60s was like classic.
I think for muscle cars, the late 60s is like the primo spot. You got the 67 Mustang Fastback, the 68 Charger, the 68, 67, 68, 69 Camaros. Like
70s was like, let's throw some darts and see what happens. Yeah. And it was all failures.
Well, and then like, you know, the 70s is when you got to the gas shortage crisis and, you know, the design started really wearing down and then they had to start getting rid of the big V8s because you needed more gas saving cars.
So again, 80s car looks really good. I had one in high school.
T-tops,
dude.
Bring back T-tops.
Bring back the T-tops. I want T-tops on new cars. Dude, I would buy the shit out of a T-topped car. I don't care what it is.
Dude,
as long as it has T-tops.
So you and I both agree the new Supra is a fantastic looking car. T-tops.
Black on black?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. That'd be sick.
The new Mustang.
Yeah.
Throw some T-tops.
Dude, just
give me a T-top option.
Give us an option. Dude, that's what we need to do. Find somebody that can do that for us.
Amen.
That'd be fucking dope. Dude, a T-top Supra would be amazing. I would love that.
That's what
that was one thing, one of the best things I loved about that car, besides all the other stuff, which was the car was cool on its own. It had so many cool features.
Oh, yeah.
But the T-tops were just nostalgic.
Yeah.
Like nobody in high school but me had T-tops. And I would take the T-tops off, roll up to school if it was hot during the summer, and jump in the car.
And just blast some Def Leppard and let the wind flow through your mullet.
Drift. Shut up. Let's not forget, I grew up in the Fast and the Furious era. I had neon lights on that thing.
If your car has T-tops, there has to be a Def Leppard CD in there or cassette somewhere.
Nope, if you know.
This is how we get copyrighted. Moving on.
Here's the arms of an angel. We need followers.
Please. For the third time, moving on.
We'll get through this eventually.
Okay, so here's one I really liked when it came out. I remember when this actually came out and it debuted. It was first of its kind design. I remember like going to the dealership and seeing one on the showroom floor and actually fanboying over this particular vehicle. The Chevy Avalanche. Yeah, I knew you were going to make that face. I actually liked it. And it's funny because I still kind of like it, but I like the early ones, like the 2003s, 2004s.
The one with the Escalade.
When they got to like the 05 and the 06s and they smoothed out the body lines and made it look more like the Tahoe. Yeah, I'm not a fan of those, but like the first ones, and it has to be the ones, like the very early ones, they had like the plastic body trim, like it was supposed to be like a rugged body trim, but it was like a piece of plastic that would break as soon as it hit a Coke can.
Yeah,
it has to be that one.
Pillars on the back that made absolutely no fucking
sense.
Yeah, I don't hate that truck. I don't love it either. I think it was cool in its own right for a little bit, but like after I saw about 60,000 of them, because everybody thought they were cool driving one, it lost its thunder. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Chevy person, and that truck it screams wannabe Escalade, and I don't like Escalades either.
See, I'm not a big Chevy person until
it doesn't do it for me.
Except for the trucks. But I only like classic Chevy trucks.
Yeah.
Like I don't like any of the new ones.
If I had to pick and choose, it'd be classic Chevy trucks.
Oh yeah,
like C10 or something like that.
I need a square body in my life.
Square body would be cool. But yeah, no, anything newer. The only thing I like from the newer Chevy stuff is the Camaro, and not the new Camaro. Yeah. The Bumblebee Edition Camaro.
Oh, the 2010,
from 2012, whatever it was. Yeah, Bumblebee Edition Camaro will never ever go out of style.
No. I'd still like to have a 2010 Camaro. The problem with the Camaro that I had, though, is I could not see out of the windows. I came so... I mean, right before...
did you have a Camaro?
Well, no, right before I bought the 14 Mustang, I test drove several Camaros.
Oh, I was like, I didn't remember you owning a Camaro.
No, I just couldn't see out the damn windows.
Yeah, when mom and dad owned one, you couldn't see. And it was convertible. You couldn't even see out of the fucking thing. Yeah. It's not an easy car to drive. It's cool. I love how it looks. I've always liked the Camaro styling.
It looks great.
I've driven the newer Camaro, test driven one of the newer Camaros, and they're terrible. You can't see shit. And that would.
They did not fix that problem.
No, they made it worse. It's so much smaller on the back window because it's thinner, and you can't see anything.
But which I will say though, like I couldn't drive it because again the whole window situation. But I have driven one. The most underrated Camaro ever was the later model Z28s. They came with the LS7. Yeah. That's actually a really good car.
I also am a big fan of, and not many people know about it, but they are out there, the Pontiac Camaro, the one where they took the Camaro body and made it a Pontiac with the T-tops.
Well, yeah, they made it into a mock Firebird.
Yeah, that was cool.
There's Trans Am Specialties. They're down in Florida. They're the ones that do that.
That looks sick. I'm not a big fan of the front end. But
if I had the money, I would do that just to have one.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like the Copo Camaro looks good.
Oh, yeah.
My next one is an oldie but a goodie. And only because, again, nostalgia, and I owned one. And you're probably going to guess where I'm going with this because we did a whole thing about it. I'm going to have to find some photos to put up of our tomfoolery with the Batman, Joker, and Robin cars.
Oh, yes.
I'm going with the 2013 Dodge Dart.
And honorable shout out to the Dart.
The Dart, dude. One, the car was shit.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is.
It was an upgraded
the
Neon.
Engine, the little Tiger Shark engine, it was not bad. It was the same engine that came in the Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Mm-hmm. Same chassis, too. But it was a terrible car because it was Dodge. Yeah. And the electronics were terrible. My fucking transmission linkage blew up, and I had to so many times I had to duct tape that thing. But the styling of it is, for what it is, it looked good. The interior was it
looked really good for a cheap car.
Yeah, it was very, again, I kind of go back to like 90s nostalgia. It had the very like big dash, like very clean lines, like very bubbly. And it looked good, and I really enjoyed driving.
And it was in that era where Dodge got really popular with the Charger, and specifically the wraparound LED taillights, and then they started doing it on everything. Yeah. I remember the Durango really had it, the Dart had it, and it was actually on the Dart. It was a good looking accent feature.
Yeah, and then even so, I lowered mine, and that made it look even better because it didn't.
You lowered yours?
Okay, bitch, I was there. I watched. I supervised.
I was going to say, and I think I have a picture of you sitting in a chair.
Hit the fucking thing to knock it out. Okay, well, first of all, not one of the 4 people that were helping me were going to let me use power tools that saw things off.
Or a torch.
Exactly.
Yeah, by the way, never lower a Dodge Dart. That was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, it wasn't worth it. Well, I take it back. It was worth it because it looked fucking dope.
It did look cool.
And it made it, again, how we lowered it, we didn't lower it so much that it tilted in the wheels either. It made it just look really rally. And it looked really, speaking of which, it was the rally trim.
Right.
It looked really good on lowering spring. But yeah, and also, all I did to that car was take the resonator off and put a cool air intake on it. And the turbo sounds were amazing.
Oh yeah, it did give good turbo noise.
I didn't have any problems with the engine per se. It was the transmission that I had problems with. But yeah, the car itself wasn't a bad.
Rest in peace to the Dart, the real one.
The real one that is laying in a junkyard somewhere with Robin stickers all over it because it was still there.
If you ever go to a junkyard and you see a red Dodge Dart with a Robin logo on it, tag him
with a missing front end and fucking green fog lights.
Poor guy.
That poor Dart. I was 20, dumb and Didn't know anything.
Full
of hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams. Yeah.
Poverty. But again, I go back to it wasn't a bad car. And they're still not bad. I see them on the road all the time. And I still get giggles in my stomach like, every time I see one. Oh, I'm like, oh, still running. I like it.
Okay, I think it's my turn. My last one on my list, and this will probably set off the comment section. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to hate this one too. It was cool at the time. The Pontiac Aztek.
At no point, Dennis. At no point has the Pontiac Aztek been cool.
It was cool when it was...
No,
it wasn't.
It was a rolling pile of shit.
Yeah.
I will say, though...
The worst debut in history.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm not going to put my stamp on it, because it's still a pile of garbage.
Look, the car itself, steaming pile of crap. But yeah, it's just it's one of those. It's like a really ugly dog. It's so ugly that it's cute.
You want to love it because of how ugly it is. That's how I feel about the fucking one Kia Soul. And I get just every time I see one, I just think of the hamsters. They did such a good job with that branding. Like I want them just to have a little hamster head and just roll around. But I also feel the same way about the Cube. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
What was that? Hyundai?
Nissan
Cube. Yeah. I loved the fact they did that window, like the cutoff of the body.
I hated that.
You hated that?
The wraparound window.
Yeah, I thought it was different because like nobody's doing that. And also the Honda fucking.
I was gonna say, if you said the Juke, this podcast is over. Don't you do it?
The Juke.
I hate the
honorable
Juke.
mentions. I loved the Juke.
No,
I wish they did a oh god, what is it? The Nismo edition.
Such a waste.
Which it would have been cooler if it came with a bigger engine.
Yeah,
like, it'd have been cool. But I have seen people do really good jobs with those. The Juke ends or whatever the Juke Nismo end or something. I don't know.
Well, and this is the last episode of here at Petrol Station.
Great.
Yeah, this has been fun.
It's an honorable mention. It's not my favorite. I'll give it an honorable mention. I'm not putting my stamp on it.
Right. So go look it up if you're not familiar with the Pontiac Aztek. One of the coolest features that came with that car was that you could open up the back hatch and it had its own tent. Like the idea was there, like you were supposed to be able to take this car like out into the woods and be rugged with it, and it had its own tent.
Well, it's called Aztec, and I thought that was culturally appropriate.
Yeah. So yeah, and it had a built-in factory tent that you could pop up using the hatch and the tailgate, and it was a really cool idea. Just really piss poorly executed. Like first of all, it was a front-wheel drive V6 vehicle. Who's climbing anything in that?
You're climbing that curb, and that's about it.
It weighed a shit ton. It was a good concept, a good idea, just piss poorly executed.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one for me. I'm not going to sell that one.
I think there was a nail in the coffin for Pontiac, too.
Yeah, it definitely was not. It wasn't a good situation for Pontiac at that time either, because they were going through a bunch of crap. But I think that's also the time like where like you got the Aztec, but you also had the CRV that actually did it right. And like was a good car and had a freaking table in the back of it that you could take out for camping. Like that car did it right. You don't need a tent. You just need something to get you there to put up the tent. Which
also came in an all-wheel drive option that the Aztec did not.
It was a Honda. Like it was a 99 Honda.
How dare
you last for the next 10 generations.
Exactly.
You couldn't kill that car if you tried. Honorable mention, the Astro van.
Dude.
Oh yeah.
Something
suede seats and
hell
just cooking in the no AC. It was great.
And built on an S10 chassis. Those things were tanks.
I still every time I see one, I'm like, man, that
good
for you.
Save the family when it's plowed into a cow.
Rest in peace.
Rest in pieces.
We're at story time eventually about Get Mom on the channel.
Okay,
like, let's talk.
Yeah.
Did you mean to hit it or did you just not see it?
Was it a vengeance kill? Yeah. Come on, be honest.
All right, so my last one is a newer one, which I think has gotten a lot of hate over the years because of what it is.
Okay.
It's definitely the prima donna 16-year-old just got the car and this is what she wanted, not what he wanted. But the newer models have done something right, and I do like them when I see them. The VW Bug. I'm going to call it out for what it is. From 2000 to like 2010, they were ugly pieces of shit that look like a ladybug.
Very.
Completely agree. But the newer ones that have the longer body, that have more of a,
I'll give you that.
Porsches
yeah.
where they look more aggressive. They They don't look bad.
Yeah.
I would drive one if I had one. I mean, I wouldn't ever buy one, but like if I had the
I would
option
drive
to,
one if I had to.
Yeah, if I had to. Like that's just what this list is. Like cars that we like that nobody else likes. I think it's gotten a bad rap for a long time because they have been ugly. They've been a very long time. But the newer bodies are definitely way more aggressive. They look better. They perform better, I'm sure. But yeah, the ugly 2000. I just pictured 2005 VW Bug in pink with lashes
and the daisy wheels. You got to have the daisy wheels and the little tulip in the flower holder.
Yep. But I will say I've seen a modded VW Bug, the newer ones with the more aggressive body style, done really well, and with like white wall wheels.
I bet it would look really good with a wide body kit on it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure because it's got that body style. Yeah, I love the old VW Bugs too with a wide body kit.
Oh, dude, the classic VWs with a wide body kit,
but like with white walls on it, dude, it looks good. It looks like a modern day old school Bug. But yeah, I think that's it. Anything else?
Great. No,
been real.
Yeah, it's been real. It's been fun.
From all of us here at Petrol Station, I'm Wes.
I'm Dennis.
And we will see you in the next one.